Hi, Mr. C here, and last time we seen each other, we were talking about applying the face frame onto the cabinet. Well, our next step in this process is going ahead and building the doors out. Now, on this particular cabinet, we're going to be putting a flat panel door, okay? So that essentially means we're going to be using a panel product inside the door frame itself. So let me kind of explain to you how we can go ahead and figure out very easily all the different parts to a door and what they are. So I kind of took the liberty of creating this little diagram. Now this is not to scale, but it's just to kind of prove a point, kind of bring this home, if you want to say. All right, now on this layout, this is the layout of this 36-inch by 16-inch door cabinet. So on here, the opening itself, from here to here, is the same as what I drew here, 12 inches. Now the opening across here is 15 inches. It is the same on the left and the right side of this cabinet. Now, the people that are going to have this kitchen set up, they wanted a 1/2 inch overlay. So the door sits over the face frame by a 1/2 inch on the left side, the right side, the top, and the bottom. So if the opening is 12 inches in length, a 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom, that means that stile is 13 inches long. The stile runs up and down. Now, all the rails and all the stiles on these doors are going to be 2 inches in width by 3/4 in thickness. So that's why the dimensions for the stiles are 13 by 2 by 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay? Now, the rail is what runs along this side, and that's why I put an R in red. And you can see it locks in to the stile, and I'll explain that in a moment. But essentially, what we have is the opening of this is 15 inches. Okay? Now you have to subtract the width of the thickness of the rail and the stiles. So you subtract that. Then you have to add in the tenon on either side, and that's going to give you 12 3/4 of an inch. Okay? Now, you have the width is 2 inches and the thickness is 3/4 of an inch. Now you're going to say, well, see, it doesn't make sense. How come it's 12 3/4 if this is 15 inches? Well, yes, your stiles are 2 inches in width, but here's what the key is. Here's the deal, right? It overlays a 1/2 inch on the left side and the right side. So instead of that being 15, you have to add 1 inch, because 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1 inch. So add 1 inch to 15, you get 16 inches. Then you subtract the width of the stile and the width of stile, that's 4 inches. 4 inches minus 4 inches taken away from 16 inches is 12. Now we have to have 3/8 on either side for the locking into the groove with the tenon. That's how you get 12 3/4. So that's how you get that. Okay? Then the panel sits inside that 3/8 inch groove on the inside of this. And the math on that also, it's going to be 9 3/4 tall by 12 3/4 wide by 1/4 thick, because the cutters that we're using a rail and style cutter. If the material is 3/4 of an inch thick and we have equal parts on either side, well, that's easy because it's 3/4. So each of the 3 parts is 1/4. The top is 1/4, then the groove in the middle is 1/4, and the bottom of it is 1/4. So that's how we get 3/4, and that's how those bits are set up. Okay? Now, for the math on the panel, well, if you have 12 inches, then you add 1 inch, it's 13. So for the overlay, right, the 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. Then you subtract 4 inches, you have 9. Then you have to go into the groove 3/8 at the top, 3/8 at the bottom. 3/8 plus 3/8 is 3/4. That's how you get 9 3/4. Then again, the same process for the sides, for the width of the panel, or you can just steel. It's the same width as the rail, as long as you're using a stable material for the panel. And what I mean by that is this. This happens to be an example of a flat panel door. Now, these rails and stiles are much larger than 2 inches. This is not a stock door, but it is a door that has a flat panel that I just want to explain to you. This happens to be a piece of 1/4 inch walnut plywood. And the rails and the stiles are 3/4 inch walnut as well, but they're solid wood. This panel is not going to expand or contract throughout the seasons, so you don't have to worry about having a buffer amount of material for it to slide, or a buffer amount for this to expand or contract. So that's why I can make this the exact 12 and 3/4 width, right? So, that being said, with this we can go ahead and use exact dimensions. If we were making a raised panel where the panel is made out of solid material, where it has to expand and contract through the seasons, especially here in Michigan. In the summertime, it's not uncommon for us to have 80, 90, even 100% humidity. And in the winter, it's very common for it to be 0% humidity, especially in February, if you remember. It's so dry. Well, in the winter, this is going to contract and make these smaller. In the summer, with the high humidity, this is going to expand in the summer. So you have to make the panel a little bit smaller than that exact width so you don't blow apart the whole joints. Now I want to show you what I'm talking about. On the rail and stile joints, you can see here, is this locks in, this is rail, locks into the stile on the end grain of the stile. This will allow for the gluing to take place and hold the door together. All right? So I hope this takes a little bit of the mystery out of how to build your doors, or how to take the measurement of a door when you're laying out for a kitchen. Okay? Depends on if you want inset, overlay, and how much of an overlay that you want for your doors. An inset door is a door that'll sit, and it's very, very nice. Like this door is not along this cabinet, but essentially an inset door would sit perfectly flush along the whole surface of this. It's usually done in higher end cabinets. It's not typically done in the run-of-the-mill custom cabinet. And yes, I said a custom cabinet, but this is kind of a specialty thing because it does take a significant amount of craftsmanship to make sure this is correct. Most people, or most cabinets, are overlay like we're talking about here. Okay? So, I hope this clears things up as far as how the doors are measured out for you to go ahead and be successful in making your doors the first attempt whenever you're building out a cabinet. So until next time, I'm Mr. C in the shop, and this is how you lay out doors. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.